Hey everyone, let's dive into what HTML really is and how it helps us build the backbone of our websites. Whether you're using Chrome, Safari, or Firefox, all browsers have a common goal, and that's to interpret your files, such as HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and render them into the web pages you see. Imagine we have a simple snippet of HTML code that sets our website's title to Hello and contains a heading saying Hello World. When we feed this code to our browser, it displays the title on the top bar and the heading prominently in the body of the page. This might seem basic, but it showcases HTML's primary function, to structure content on the web. It's crucial to understand that HTML is the bedrock of all websites. While you can't create a site using only CSS or JavaScript, you can definitely build one with just HTML. It might look like a blast from the past, perhaps reminiscent of the 90s, but it will still function, displaying text, images, forms, tables, and more, depending on your HTML coding skills. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language, and the keyword here is markup. There are various markup languages out there, like XML, Extensible Markup Language, and GML, Generalized Markup Language. But HTML is specifically designed for web development. It's what gives structure to your web content, making it an indispensable tool for any web developer. So, as we move forward, remember, mastering HTML is the first step in your web development journey. It's the foundation upon which all the flashy designs and interactive features will be built. Ready to dive deeper? Let's get started. And all of these languages share a fascinating history rooted in the traditional markup used in manuscripts. Editors would annotate texts, indicating changes for the author, or specifying structure and layout for the publishers. Imagine a squiggly line signifying that a section should be bolded or italicized. HTML operates in much the same way, allowing you to define the layout and structure of your website with precision through HTML tags. To see this in action, fire up your browser and visit codepen.io. This fantastic platform lets you experiment with real HTML in real time, without the need for signups or downloads. Simply navigate to codepen.io and click on Create New Pen. This opens a blank canvas where you can start writing and tweaking HTML code, instantly seeing the results of your efforts. It's an engaging way to get hands-on experience and truly grasp how HTML tags shape web pages. And now, let's switch up our view to something like this. Here, we have the live version of our website, and these sections are where we'll input our code. CodePen is an incredibly versatile tool that allows you to integrate HTML, CSS, and JavaScript all in one place. Together, these elements will be interpreted and displayed on the left as your live website. Since we're currently focusing on HTML, I'll minimize the CSS and JavaScript sections to avoid any distractions and concentrate solely on the HTML area. To make our practice more interesting, we'll need some text to work with, something that we can structure and format. If you head over to Gutenberg.org, I'll put the link in the description. You'll find The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes by Arthur Conan Doyle. It's a treasure trove of text we can use for our project. If you scroll down, you'll notice you can view the book in plain text or read it online as an HTML file. The plain text version contains all the words of the book, but it's just a wall of text with no structure whatsoever. Now, when we check out the HTML version, you'll see the book laid out in a way that's much more readable and visually appealing. This structured format is what we're aiming to replicate using HTML. Let's get started by copying this segment. The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Go ahead and paste it into the HTML section of your pen on CodePen. Initially, you'll see that all this text appears on the screen without any structure. It's just a jumble of words. To transform this into something more visually organized, we'll begin adding some HTML tags. Notice that The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes is the largest heading on the page. We can achieve this effect on our website by wrapping this text in an H1 tag. This will tell the browser to render it as a main heading, giving it the prominence it deserves. Let's bring this classic text to life with a touch of HTML magic. HTML tags are enclosed in angular brackets, with the element type specified between them. For example, H1 tag indicates a level 1 heading. It's crucial to always close your tags. If you don't, you might end up with unintended formatting, like making your entire page one giant heading. In our case, we only want The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes to be a heading, not everything else. To close a tag, use the same angular brackets, but include a / before the tag name, like this. This tells the browser where the heading ends, ensuring only the intended text gets styled as a heading. By properly closing tags, we maintain the desired structure and readability of our content. Now, only The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes is styled as an H1, or a large heading. Next, let's take a look at the rest of the text. The word by should be smaller than the author's name, indicating it as a subtitle. We can achieve this by using a slightly smaller heading. To do this, we'll wrap the author's name in an H2 tag. This will make Sir Arthur Conan Doyle a heading, but smaller and less prominent than the main title. By structuring our content this way, we create a clear hierarchy that enhances readability and visual appeal. Finally, let's address the word by. It should be even smaller than the subtitle. We'll wrap it in an H3 tag. By now, you should be getting the gist. The heading tags decrease in size as the number increases. For example, H4 is smaller than H3, H5 is smaller still, and H6 is the smallest heading size. If you try using H7, you'll notice it doesn't do anything. That's because heading elements only range from H1 to H6. How do I know this, you ask? This brings us to an important point in our course, documentation. I'm introducing it early because it's crucial to your journey as a web developer. Learning how to navigate and utilize documentation will be one of your most valuable skills. One of the key skills in becoming a great web developer, or any sort of programmer, is mastering the art of finding the information you need. This often means becoming an expert at Googling. Knowing how to search for the specific piece of information that will help you achieve your goals or understand a concept is invaluable. In this case, we're discussing HTML headings, so let's talk about documentation. I highly recommend the MDN Web Docs, which stands for the Mozilla Developer Network. It's a treasure trove of knowledge that will guide you through the intricacies of web development. Imagine you're diving into web development and want to learn about headings in HTML. Start by thinking of the folks who created Firefox, a reputable source for web technologies. When you hit enter, a plethora of results will appear. The most pertinent information for us lies within the tags H1 to H6, which pertain to headings. Clicking on these results allows you to delve deeper into the heading elements in HTML. You'll find example code snippets illustrating how these headings render in a browser, making the learning process interactive and practical. For documentation, two primary sources stand out: MDN Web Docs and W3 Schools. Let's take W3 Schools, for instance. A quick search for HTML headings on W3 Schools brings up the top result. This page provides clear code examples, the resulting output, and handy notes on proper usage of heading tags. It's a comprehensive guide that ensures you understand not just the how, but also the why behind using HTML headings. Both MDN Web Docs and W3 Schools offer extensive and valuable usage notes that are essential reads when you first encounter a particular HTML element. By exploring these notes, you'll establish a solid foundation of knowledge, which is crucial as you begin to build and create your own websites. Before we wrap up, I want to highlight one more resource that I personally find incredibly useful: devdocs.io. This site aggregates a wealth of documentation in an organized and user-friendly format. It's a fantastic tool to have at your disposal, streamlining the process of finding the information you need while developing your web projects. Let's dive into the HTML5 section on devdocs.io. When you explore the Elements tab, you'll discover a comprehensive list of 135 HTML elements. Scrolling through, you'll find the heading tags H1 to H6. Clicking on any of these brings up the corresponding MDN documentation, presented in a clean, straightforward format. It's remarkably similar to the original MDN content, but organized in a way that's exceptionally easy to navigate. This makes devdocs.io an invaluable resource, definitely worth bookmarking for quick reference during your web development journey. Next, to better replicate the look of our website, we need to add some space between the lines. In word processors like Microsoft Word or Google Docs, you can easily add spacing by pressing the Enter key a few times. However, HTML handles spacing a bit differently. Simply hitting Enter won't create visible space in your web page. To insert spacing in HTML, we use a line break element, written as BR. An interesting aspect of the line break element is that it's self-closing. It doesn't require a separate closing tag. By using BR, you can insert the necessary line breaks to format your text just the way you want. When we use the H1 through H6 tags, you might recall that we started by marking the text with an opening tag, such as H1, and then closed it with a corresponding closing tag, like this. However, the line break element BR is a bit different. It works all by itself and doesn't need a closing tag. You can even place it within your text, like so, to move the following content to a new line. This is a great point to review the anatomy of HTML tags. Understanding the structure of opening tags, closing tags, and self-closing tags like BR is fundamental to writing and debugging your HTML code effectively. So join me in the next lesson regarding HTML tag anatomy, and remember to smash that like button and hit subscribe to stay tuned for more epic contents. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time, keep learning and exploring with us.